I feel slightly foolish for not being better prepared for coming down here, I must admit. Of course I expected dangers in the ruins themselves, but in the tunnels leading to the city, well, I didn't think there'd be much even left alive. Instead, we find this maze of darkness and confusion. Yes, some of it has been formed by natural wildlife, of course, but some of it seems as if there is almost a purpose to it. I won't lie, for a moment I was very, very concerned when we were separated. I tried to keep my mind clear, but the tunnels would not let me. I saw him. I know, of course, it was not really him. Just an illusion created by my mind in the dark and the magics at work here, but it was good to see him nonetheless. He didn't tell me anything I did not already know, of course. Now I can't give up now, I'm so close. How the priest and that warlock will likely betray me. I wish it was not so, but I'll have to try and be ready for it. That Raulerson, after all, seems to be led by nothing but coin and greed. And Roman, well, he would do anything for his god, or his silly little village. Still, as long as I can get what I want, I can let them have whatever else we find. It'll just be our little party, after all, so there hopefully won't be any other complications. That's if we survive these tunnels. This is Red Moon Roleplaying. All around you, you hear this cackling, this mocking, this bestial voice, but you can't see anything, and the echoes fade eventually. What do? You are now in a very large chamber. You haven't really moved from the tunnels from where you came, but it seems if you want to go somewhere else, you'll have to cross the chamber itself.
No, we have to do that then. We cannot be still here. Whatever is making those noises is eventually gonna come for us. We have to get what we need, and we have to get out.
I agree. It's been a little troublesome, but at least none of us have been harmed by it yet.
That's true.
I don't know what you call this then, I say, and I start getting up from where I was about to sit down to meditate.
Well, what are you saying? Was the bite from the creature? You said it was nothing.
I said it was a creature. Some wolf-like almost thing, long fangs, dissipated into mist.
Dissipated into mist? Long fangs? Wait a second. Professor Scant. Yes? Beings that turn into mist and wolves? Ringing any bells? But of course. It is quite possible we are dealing with a vampire. How wonderful. What is your query?
Well, that's handy, I guess. Bloody thing. I don't know. It bit me. It looked like it was furry.
A bite from a vampire can be a very serious problem. However, it is only deadly if the target dies from the bite, in which case they are likely to resurrect as a vampire spawn several days after their death. With correct healing magics, though, in time, a simple wound, hopefully, will heal just fine.
Oh, that's a comfort. I sort of sneer over at Roman.
I see.
So that's what we have here. An old vampire thing been inhabiting this place, giving us illusions. You think it comes from that as well? I talked to the orb.
It is certainly possible. Vampires come in several varieties. Ancient vampires, vampire spawn. Vampirism can spread to many species. For some reason, some species it does not take to as much. It begins going on and on, explaining lots of trivia. What do you do?
Well, I don't know if anything of this is useful, Velen.
Yes, well, I don't know. You've got it going now. Professor Scant, that's enough. No more query. Professor Scant goes. Very well. A shame. If you wish to know of their weaknesses and strengths, please do ask.
Fine, tell us about the weaknesses and strengths.
Oh, wonderful. Several vampires have a problem with sunlight. It does not agree with them at all. They also can be stopped with a stake to the heart. Sometimes it will simply incapacitate them. Other times it will simply destroy them, depending on their age and pedigree. Some of them can also be disgusted by perfume, enraged by celestial language, angry at holy symbols. Sometimes they can cross water, sometimes they can turn into mist.
I fold my arms, look over to Roman. Well, it sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yes, I do remember our encounters with vampires. Yes, a good stake to the heart. Stake them first, fire later.
Did you bring any stakes?
No. I don't think so, at least.
The orb continues to speak, quite clearly not really caring that you're interrupting it, but Velen then puts it back in her bag and says, That's enough. Let's just get moving. This chamber. Lead the way, Roman, please.
All right, I say, and I begin doing just that.
And eventually you notice a flat sheet of cloudy ice forms one wall of this 40-foot-high cavern you are in. You notice something dark, massive suddenly, behind the ice. You become aware of some sort of presence. Could you roll me a intelligence saving throw?
4.
18.
Roman, as you're noticing this, you just suddenly find yourself moving to this great sheet of ice, and you just place your hand on it. And you stare. What is beyond the ice? This is not Lathander. It is so wrong, but you can't look away. Velen joins you, just going to the ice, putting her hand on it and looking. Roshik, there's something behind a great wall of ice in this chamber you're in. It's strange. Is it moving? How can it move? It must be behind ice. Is that water? Roman and Velen have then gone up to the ice and have just put their hands against it, and they are not saying anything.
What are you doing? Stop that.
He does not respond. Roman is simply muttering something under his breath. Velen is chattering her teeth.
Nonsense. I go up and I look worriedly at this wall where something is moving. I don't like that at all. What if it just bursts forwards? What if it is water? I shiver. I go up and I try to just grab Roman by the shoulders and pull him back.
You do so, shaking him a little. Roman, Roshik is shaking you. What happened? There's something here. You need to go. You need to run. You need to flee. You cannot fight this. There is no hope.
We have to go. Come on, Velen. I try to pull Velen with me.
And you grab Velen too, and she staggers and just looks at you in blind terror and starts running forwards. And again, Roshik, you don't know what's happening, but you just look at this wall and you just see this form, and it's gigantic. It covers the entire wall, just darkness and tentacles maybe, like a spider or something. It's horrifying. If that came through, you would die instantly. The water alone.
I tear my eyes away from it as we continue running. What happened? What did you see?
Endless void. No light. Never any light. The very opposite of light. Whether or not you tell Roshek for a moment, you felt that Lathander was no more. Dead for all time. And what was beyond cared nothing for you, but merely wanted to look into your mind. It was trying to take your mind, like a needle in your brain.
I saw a void. I saw something that cannot be. There was no Lathander. No, nothing. I don't know what I saw, but it was not of this world. It best not linger there any longer. Come on, let's keep going.
You begin heading away. You notice Velen has reached a tunnel. She pauses there and just looking down on the ground, her one eye generally quite disturbed. We must get away from here. This is not something we should deal with it. Let's move along. I don't think it can follow us. Can it follow us? If it follows us, we're doomed. Doomed, I tell you.
Stop it. Damn you. Calm down. Calm down. That thing is locked there behind the wall. We must be very, very deep now. Probably under sea level. This thing is encased. I think this glacier might be moving with the sea around it.
Velen looks like she's going to challenge you for a moment, but there's just no challenge in her. You've never seen her like this. She really looks frail now.
Well, are we gonna go this way or that?
I don't know. You pick. I don't know. I need a moment to think. She starts rubbing at her single eye. Rubbing at the eye patch as well.
Sigh and thinking like she did that we're gonna follow wherever the fresh air comes from. I try to get an idea of where to go, feeling that this is all very haphazard.
You smell something fresh coming from in front of you. What do you do?
Well, if we're gonna go by anything of what you said before, then let's try this way.
Alright, Rorschach. Let's do that.
And you move forwards. And suddenly, the light changes a little. Or rather, the reflection of your light changes a little. You see before you crystal sheets, you think. Or maybe they're icicles hanging from above and below. It's a bit disorientating because you see yourself. And you see Roman and you see Velen, and you see them again and again and again. Sometimes crystal clear, but sometimes distorted. They're reflecting off something, but it's very difficult as you go forward to make sense of what the reflections are. Where are they? There's so many. Bouncing off all these crystal walls in this chamber you find yourself in.
It's like a mirror maze. Let's hold on to each other.
Yeah, let's. I say, and I grab a hold of Rorschach.
Who leads the way?
Well, that's what I was starting to do, so I'll keep doing that as soon as I feel Roman's hand on me.
Roll me a perception check.
12.
You begin trying to move forward. You reach out for your reflection, but your hand passes through it. No, that wasn't your reflection. It was to the left. It's surprisingly disorientating. But you feel wall. That's wall, definitely. Cold wall. You begin moving forwards. You begin leading the group through, and you're taking your time nice and slow. You think there's actually quite a lot of space to move around in this room, but these sheets of ice just seem to come down at random moments. It's very unsettling. And then you suddenly see, sitting on what looks like a bit of a rock, a figure. The rock itself reflects multiple times. It's disorientating, but the figure does it. Why is there only one? It is some sort of being sitting on its haunches. It turns its head, blood dripping from its mouth as its large fangs smile at you. It is some sort of wolf with white fur, but no, not a wolf. It has a humanoid upper body, almost. You're reminded of a gnoll, but you have never seen a gnoll that looks like this. What do you do? Rorschach, you see this first, this strange sight, surrounded by your own reflections and the reflections of all the others.
I raise my hands to be ready to let out a blast from them. This thing, if it does something, if it goes towards us or if it tries to escape, I'm going to try and blast it.
What do you do, Roman? You see this too, a singular being sitting on a rock, surrounded by reflections of you, Rorschach and Velen.
Who are you? Who are you really?
Tekali. Time to eat! And it begins to cackle, this hideous cackle, like an animal, but with something behind it. Could you please make, both of you, a wisdom saving throw?
12.
19.
Velen screams and just sort of stumbles back, vanishing into something. You don't know. Has she vanished? You can see her reflection. You can see 7 of her. But is that Velen? You're not sure. Roman, you need to run. Run. Run now!
No, but we need her. We need her. I try to move up. Velen!
You can try and chase after her, but you must move away from this being for now. What do?
Well, I will do that then. I move away.
You do. Falling over a little, hitting your face against a wall. It's your reflection. No, it's Roshek's reflection. There are so many reflections. Roshek, though, you feel this bone-chilling cackle, but you are not afraid. You will stand your ground. Could everyone please roll initiative?
8.
4.
Roshek, it is your turn. What do?
As they start running off, I unleash the energy that I stored in my palms.
Your beams of light fire out. Please roll your attack with disadvantage.
First one is 18.
And the second?
Second beam, that is a 11.
You fire your twin beams of radiant energy, both at this being, confident, but one of them goes completely to the side. It shoots you. No, not you, of course not. Your reflection. There was ice in the way. You see the being begin to move, but you do just nip at it. Roll your damage.
6.
You catch the being just a little as it leaps off the rock, but the being does not seem that bothered, merely laughing in amusement. What do you do next?
Since the others are starting to run off, I don't want to lose them. I don't think we should get separated. I start moving after them.
You try and do your best to move after them, but it's tricky going. There are so many walls, so many obstacles in the way. You're only really able to travel about 15 feet.
And that's all for my turn.
As you travel, this being looks at you. It's so unnerving, Roshek, because, again, there's so many of you and Roshek and Velen, but there's only one. There's only one of this thing. Its eyes catch you, and you feel something come upon you. Please roll a Constitution saving throw.
16.
You feel this miasma come over you. It makes you sick to your stomach, but you grit your teeth and you look away. Don't look in its eyes. That's not a good idea. You manage to look away. You think you're fine.
Roman, stop. Velen, stop. We have to fight this thing.
Yes, I have to stop her. Velen, come on. We have to take this thing down. We need to work together.
Roman, you do your best to try and get to Velen, but you can't find her. You don't know where she is. You can see her, but you can't see her. You yourself suddenly crash into a wall, clashing into a reflection of yourself, but the wall splinters a little and the reflection looks a little less defined. As you panic, please roll, again, a wisdom saving throw.
13.
Again, you are panicking, Roman. It's from earlier, that thing you saw. Maybe this is it. Maybe you die here. Maybe it was all for nothing. You weren't a warrior of Lathander. You were just a small, insignificant speck who dies in this cave to whatever this thing is.
No, it cannot be. I have to get back to East Haven. No, I have to fight now.
Roshek, it is your turn. You're looking for Roman. You can see him, you think, ahead, but he seems to be panicking and you have no idea where Velen is. This being, meanwhile, is getting ready to jump upon you, you think. What do?
Well, I can play tricks too, I think. And I start moving one way, and then I cast greater invisibility and move the other.
And you vanish. And will remain invisible for at least the next few rounds. What do you do next?
And I feint and move the other way to see where this being goes, so I can try and get an opening to attack it.
The being sniffs the air, clearly irritated that you have suddenly vanished from its view. It squints, but it cannot see you. Instead, you see it turn, notice Roman, and run towards him, leaping through the air. It leaps on you, Roman, you are suddenly aware that a being has just jumped onto you and trying to bite down into your arm. You manage to raise your shield in time, the teeth hitting your shield, but one of its claws then swipes out underneath your shield. I'm afraid you take 10 slashing damage.
There you are, I say, and I hope that I can soon unleash my wrath upon this being.
Indeed. It is your turn. What do? This sudden pain shakes you back to yourself. You are aware of what's happening. There is a being upon you. What do?
I smirk, and I hold out my hand, and I unleash the light that I carry within me at all times, and I cast Guiding Bolt.
Wonderful. Make your attack.
25.
That's a hit. Roll damage.
20 damage.
The being howls in pain, gnashing its teeth, blood from its mouth falling upon your armor. It falls off you, but it's still up and about.
And I hold out my still glowing hand towards it, and I have a look of absolute hatred in my eyes.
Roshik, it is your turn. What do? The being is upon your friend, but he cannot see you.
That's right. I've had my packed weapon channeled all this time, so any bolts have been flying through it. And now I'm going to use this great axe that the image of myself almost taunted me to conjure up. And I'm going to get up to this vampire or whatever it is and try and cut it to pieces.
You charge forward and engage this creature. Melee, you have advantage due to your invisibility. Please roll your attack.
My first attack is 24.
It's a hit. Roll damage.
12 slashing damage. And the second attack is also a 24 roll as the great axe comes around again.
Wonderful. Roll damage.
That one doesn't hit as well, so it's a 5 damage.
You charge at this being from behind, your weapon hitting it in its hindquarters. Again, for a moment, you have to stop your weapon hitting another reflection, but luckily, due to your skill with a blade, you are able to see through these walls, even though it's still very confusing. The being howls in anger and frustration. It turns, and even though it can't see you, it can feel you. But unfortunately, as it swings its attacks in your direction, you are able to nimbly dip to the side. After all, you are invisible. When this happens, it then tries to move away from the both of you. Roman, please make an attack of opportunity.
Then I hit at it with my mace as it's trying to move away from me. I'm trying to crush it.
What do you roll?
11.
Not quite quick enough. This beast is still quite life. Roshik, attack of opportunity from you as well.
22.
You manage to hit it. Roll damage.
6.
And you nip at this creature's heel again as it retreats, quickly vanishing behind some of these walls, laughing as it goes, dripping a great deal of blood now on the floor. It is your turn, Roman. The creature is away from you, but it's still out there. What do?
Can I see it?
Yes.
Well, then I will wait no longer. I unleash the light yet again, trying to extinguish whatever light it has in itself.
Indeed. Roll with disadvantage. As this being is moving between these reflections, you see a reflection of yourself charging up your guiding bolt.
19.
You fire. You, for a moment, see your reflection, but it shatters as your guiding bolt flies through the ice, hitting the being. Roll your damage.
21.
The being howls as it briefly falls to the ground, some of the ice shattering around it. Again, so strange how it has no reflection. That's what it is. It doesn't have a reflection in this mirrored room. Rosik, it is your turn. What do you do?
Seeing that Roman has failed it, I'm gonna take the opportunity to run after it and try and just hack it down into the ground, cut its head off.
You move up to it and attack with advantage.
First attack is a 23.
It's a hit. Roll damage.
6.
And your second attack.
It's a 23.
Roll damage.
11.
You come upon the creature. You hack it down to the ground. It is a great beast, but it is no match for your weapon now that you're able to hit it with your invisibility. How strong you feel, not being seen. What a great benefit. But it still, it seems, just tilts its head, laughs, and lunges in your general direction. Even though you are invisible, the being doesn't care. It simply bites in the general direction that you seem to be coming from, and it gets again your arm. Please take 12 piercing damage and 9 necrotic damage. Once again, lower your maximum health by that 9.
And I can't believe he managed to get me. I tried to shake him off. The axe that only I can see once again wavering in my hand.
Indeed, but it doesn't matter because he still tries to go for a hit with his claws as well for his second attack. Luckily, his flailing claws do not hit you though a second time. Roman, it is your turn. Rosik has the being down on the ground. It nearly is dead, but suddenly it just leaps up and bites hard into him. You can't see Rosik, but you can see his blood just starting to trickle from somewhere.
Get off of him. And I hope to take it down now by finally unleashing yet another guiding bolt. This one will do it. The thunder will make sure of it.
Fire your attack. This time, you can roll it normally.
18.
That is a hit. Roll damage.
23.
You blow this thing to hell. Your final guiding bolt hitting it squarely in the chest. The being howls in rage and anger before beginning to disintegrate. The radiance of your holy energy filling its form until there is nothing but dust.
Rosik? You there?
And as the spell starts to wear off, you see me coming forth, standing there, holding my arm, still with the axe also there, but slowly turning into mist as well. Ugh! Just managed to get me anyway. Where's Valen?
I don't know. I think she fled. Valen, it's over.
You see Velen come around a corner, just looking confused, shaking her head. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I guess... What happened? Did you kill it?
It is gone. It is fine. I hope you will stand with us next time, but I understand.
You make it sound simple. I'm sorry. I suddenly just heard this laughter in my mind, and maybe this was all wrong. Maybe we should turn back. I don't know. No, we can't turn back. Damn it.
We're close now. Don't speak nonsense. But now we know what kind of beings nest in this place.
Yes. We have to keep our eyes open. There might be more.
Yeah, might be. But I listen. Is there any more noise, any more sounds, any more bits of laughter? Or was it this one?
No. It's silent now.
I think that might have been the one.
That's good.
The very one taunting us.
That's very good.
I don't know how much further it is, but I could sit down and try and patch this up.
All right. And perhaps that's for the best. Hopefully there's nothing else here.
Velen comes over and remarks, well, what do you mean? Are we resting here? Like a proper rest or what?
No, just let him just catch his breath, that's all.
Yeah, well, maybe an hour or so, just to recover.
Very well then, I suppose I can't complain. Maybe it would do me good as well. Alright.
We've been walking for a long time, so just that. I say, and I roll out a little package to sit on and bring out some food and also some bandages.
And so you will have a short rest. You can heal with your hit dice and regain short rest abilities, but unfortunately it does not regain you your spells, Roman, and you can still feel the wound festering, Roshek. It needs more time than this. And so you will have a short rest, healing as much as you can and catching your breath. But sadly, it is a short-lived rest. Roman, you're not sure what's going on here, what you've seen. You felt sure at first that it was like Barovia, but no, it was different. 'Cause you'd hate to admit it, but you felt that those were simply your thoughts, just manifesting before you. And that thing as well, that great thing beyond, you will never forget how you felt then. You can put it aside for now, but you feel that will stay with you forever. An emptiness beyond anything you've ever comprehended. Roshek, whatever that being was in that cave didn't bother you as much, you don't think, although this being has hurt you greatly. You'll need to rest. But what was going on before? Was that all just a trick? But it felt so real.
Yeah. I feel like I saw a better part of myself, reminding me what's important.
As you think that, you hear a little laugh in the back of your ear. Not a hideous bestial laugh. A far more pleasant laugh. At least you think it's a pleasant laugh.
And I twitch a little. My ears twitch too, as I am bandaging my wound, sitting down there in the cold, drawing the fur around me, trying to get this dried up and good. Beings, voices. I always want something. It's important that I remember my own ambitions.
The most amusing thing about your story, Roshek, is how utterly clueless you are. It makes it so entertaining to watch.
I just can't help but smile to myself. Yes, an entertainer, that's what I am. Using the tools I am given for my stagecraft.
Velen seems a little impatient. Roman, after a time, she stands up. But again, there's no snippy remarks, no chiding of the pair of you. She generally seems almost like an old woman, just a normal old woman with an eye patch.
The words that I told myself, they do remain true. I do not trust my companions. I know that I must keep my eyes open. I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and I will act if they act, but not before then. Velen, are you alright?
I'll be fine. I apologize. I've had a few moments of weakness down here. I need to keep my mind on the goal. After all, that's the whole point. I apologize for being a little... And she just stops.
Don't worry. I move up to her and I try to look legitimately as though I have concern for her. I suppose I sort of do. I mean, we need her. Don't worry. We'll get through this. We'll find what we're looking for, and we could take care of it, me and Roshek. That's why we're here. You show the way, we slay the things that get in our way.
Roll me an insight check.
26.
She looks at you with her eye, and there is a flicker of surprise. She did not expect you to say this. It's evident on her face. You have a funny moment yourself. You realize this is the first time you've ever spoken to her like you would Roshek or even Kaliana. Every other time you've spoken to her, you have spoken as a priest of Lathander, with an air of mistrust in your voice. You realize you're speaking a little differently, and she is surprised. She has noticed it. I thank you, Roman. We will be fine. Hopefully the dangers of this place are behind us, and it'll be a little less dangerous up ahead. At least we won't have to worry about anyone coming for us from the outside. That's something.
Yes. No, we'll be fine. We're together on this. All right, we're a team. We'll find what we're looking for, and then we'll get out of here.
She glances at Roshek briefly, nodding. Yes. Again, we've come very far, but we're nearly there, and I will keep my promise as long as I get my book. I don't really care for the rest of the city. I'm sure the people back home will be interested in the location, but they can come and investigate on their own. I've only come here for one thing.
Yeah. That's good. All good and well. We'll find what we've come for. I just hope there'll be something for me in it as well.
I assure you, I'm sure you'll find something of amusement in the ruins. If not, of course, the Mifalar.
That's right. Gonna mess a bit with the self-proclaimed Ice Queen.
Velen begins to attempt to lead the way forward, seeming a little more confident now. To you, Roman, at least. Roman, what are you thinking in regards to the information Roshik told you earlier? Now, she just said, good thing you're not being followed. But you are being followed, apparently.
And that will come as a surprise to her. But I will protect her. We're a team after all, I did mean that. We have a deal. I don't know. It's complicated. I can't serve them both, I cannot... Roshik has made a deal as well. I'll just have to see how it goes. It's not mainly my decision to make, it is theirs.
You hear a voice in the back of your mind. Not a supernatural voice, merely your own thoughts, just echoing. A necromancer. A foul being, an enemy. Do not trust. The light is all that matters. But it is just a voice, Roman. Just one of your thoughts.
Yes. But she did stop. Well, she did get rid of that thing that she had reanimated. Perhaps... Perhaps there's a way that she won't bring the darkness forth. At least not when she's with us. That's really all that is required. I think. I don't think I'm supposed to go around killing everyone who has touched the darkness. I don't think that's what Lathander wants.
You see an image suddenly in your mind. Kaliana. Just see her for a moment. You're not sure why you're thinking of her suddenly.
I'll be back soon.
Do you all continue to follow Velen out of this mirrored chamber? A lot of it is now shattered on the floor, this glass, this ice, but there's still quite a lot of it. Quite pretty now that you're not in immediate peril.
I get my things packed up and I stand up and I look at one of these shards and I lift it up.
Very nice piece of reflective ice, although you can feel it starting to melt in your hand.
It's very sharp too, but it won't last. It's quite a sight. I look around and take a moment to appreciate this, actually, before we leave it.
And so the three of you begin to leave the chamber, heading along another dark tunnel. This time, though, the tunnel is larger, and there are no turnings. Roman, after a time, you notice something in the walls. There is something in them. You can't quite see it, though. You'd have to go a little closer to look and see what it is. Do you do so?
Yes.
Bodies. Yes. You take a moment to blink. It's weird because you think it's a person, but the hand kind of stops at the wall. You think to yourself, of course, because if a body was down here, how long has it been here? The ice has preserved the corpses in the wall, but you think outside of the wall itself, the remains have turned to dust. You see 6 or 7 people, you think, just sort of fallen to the ground beyond this wall. Again, their silhouettes are hard to see, but they are frozen in the ice. Corpses.
So many souls. Look.
What?
Yes, Roshik, you see it too. It's a strange sight. Frozen corpses in the wall, lying down. Perhaps once they were not part of the wall, but the ice has formed over them.
Could this be people from the Netherese?
Velen comes over. Yes, it could be, couldn't it? Why else would there be bodies here? We must be close. We must be near the city. The ruins.
Yeah. Maybe it crashed here and then in the water and then got frozen solid. Yeah, makes sense.
That is certainly one possibility. Well, the landmass has likely changed greatly over 1,000 years. It's also possible that they were some of the survivors of the crash of the city, trying to find their way back to the surface. After all, several historians agree that it's unlikely every single person died on impact. They had magical protection, after all. These tunnels might have been here in some form even 1,000 years ago. There's far too many for them to be completely natural. Still, they had little hope of escape. We're far from the surface now, and they would have had no way to break the walls of the glacier itself. Well, possibly no way. I think it's safe to say they all died down here. Velen pauses for a moment, before remarking, "There's definitely some magic here. Of that I have no doubt. Some force. I wonder if something wanted them not to be able to escape, wants us not to find them. Oh, it doesn't matter now." Velen mutters to herself for a few more moments before falling silent and continuing to move onwards. And you continue down this hallway, with many corpses on both sides of you, but the tunnel seems to be coming to something, and eventually you see a great sight before you.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. The music was created by Flowers for Body Snatchers, Ugasanye, Wordclock, and Metatron Omega, and was used with permission from their label, Cryochamber. Check them out at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, David Hagberg, and Camilla for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. May Lathander protect you, and fill the world with light.